Yes, everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We are back with another episode of The Rumour Mill. We're back here with another One Leeds video. You want some bonus content? You know what to do. Hit the link in the description. That will take you over to the Patreon. We have another video up there today. We'll have another video up there later on in the week. Go over there, get your One Leeds digestible content. Get your Leeds United content over there as well. So let's get into the main news today anyway. It's all about managerial, guys. It's all about managerial. I just took a video out there talking about the Daily Record and multiple sources indicating that apparently Leeds United are going to hijack. They're going to hijack the deal that Celtic have almost structured for Brendan Rodgers. Excuse me. However, that has been blown over. It's been blown over by a report by the YEP this morning that states Leeds United's interest in hijacking a deal for Celtic, maybe offering a proposition to Brendan Rodgers, is wide of the mark. Yes, it's allegedly not going to be happening that way. It's not going to be, manoeuvred in that way, which in a strange sort of way is a little bit disappointing because it was a bully boy tactic, and I quite like that. And it could still be happening, by the way, just because the YEP report that it's not doesn't mean it's not. If you get multiple Scottish sources reporting that, Leeds are doing this, then that could be factually correct as well. And a lot of the local newspapers and the localized media don't get a lot of the Leeds snippets, and we've known that for years. I know it's a different ownership, but then it was going to be drip feed into the local newspapers. However, you would expect Graham, Phil, etc., to be a little bit more reliable. Berryn, obviously, on our side. Berryn to be a little bit more reliable than maybe the Scottish side, or we have more trust in them, don't we? But when it comes to dependability, who knows really? But yeah, overall, it looks like in this article that Graham's written, the head two really are Brendan Rodgers and Carlos Corberán. They're the ones that have been spoken of. They understand that allegedly Brendan Rodgers almost isn't willing to make the step down to the Championship, which I think we've known all along. And if you've been on this channel for the last week, I'm not getting carried away with Brendan Rodgers. The lads behind the scenes on the debrief, they've not been getting carried away with Brendan Rodgers either. It's a bit of a pipe dream. It always has been a bit of a pipe dream, to be honest with you. A manager of Liverpool finishing second was in a title race, a manager who's won the FA Cup, a manager who's already battered the Championship. Getting him back down to the Championship, even on a big financial package, was going to be difficult. But I'm not ruling out the fact that there has been a big offer from the 49ers, the fact that he has spoken to Leeds United. According to Graham's article, there has been no contact, or there's been a lack of contact, in comparison to what everybody's been saying. And the likelihood is he goes back to Scotland. But I don't for one second believe that Leeds haven't gone in there and at least asked the question whether a massive financial package, whether or not a massive financial package has been offered to Brendan Rodgers is a different matter. Yeah, that's a different question. But yeah, as I said on the Patreon, I've done the manager that I would go for, which I think would be very interesting. But yeah, fascinating to see how this one plays out. The article did also state that it's going to happen next week, which is a little bit like, come on, Leeds. The players are set to come back on July 2nd, and the transfer market is opening in less than a week. The transfer window, I should say. Is it going to be an unpredictable? And this is why I've mentioned before, like, they have to be recruiting for a philosophy and an ethos, and that's why you need sort of three managers on a tier list who are very similar in terms of way of playing. They'll want, of course, specific players to be brought in for specific roles, specific reasons, but behind the scenes you would hope that Leeds United are putting certain individuals in certain pecking orders when it comes in a certain pecking order when it comes to us actually starting the transfer window, and like we haven't done previously, actually having deals lined up, because the philosophy is obviously going to be matched by the players. So yeah, that's all we know so far when it comes to managerial. I think he's going to go to Celtic, and I think Leeds are going to get Weber and Farke. Mentioned yesterday about Stuart Weber. I knew that there was going to be an embargoed statement until midday. I was actually going to put it on the Patreon account that I knew, but I thought, there's no real point in doing that. But yeah, I've got a contact down there, and yeah, he told me about 9 o'clock that there is an embargo, that Stuart Weber will be leaving Norwich City. Apparently Leeds didn't want to be mentioned in the statement. Leeds denied to be mentioned in the statement, which, if Leeds are denying to be in the statement, it's pretty obvious that Leeds are talking to him. And I think it is a good match, Weber and Leeds, in a sense. I think yesterday I was a little bit discombobulated by the fact that Farke would come with him and it would be that Norwich partnership, and would that work again? Can you do a good thing twice? But overall, I don't mind it. I don't mind the fact that Weber's a Leeds fan. I think he was drip-fed not much money at Norwich. And you look at the first season when he had Stephen Buendia, Aarons, Lewis, and all the bunch who came to Leeds and battered us on that 3-1 game. But yeah, I think when you look at it overall, I think he's going to be drip-fed a little bit more money by the 49ers. There's more potential, and Weber feels like the guy. I know he talks a lot, but he feels like the guy who can take on the mantle of Leeds. He's a Leeds fan. You'd hope that he's got the best interests of the club at heart, and he's going to be a little bit more meticulous with the signings. There's a lot of people who are talking about how Kieran Scott, who then went to Middlesbrough and became, the recruitment guy there, was the man who basically got Norwich into shape, and then Weber came in, it went downhill. But what you've got to look at is Weber's job at Huddersfield Town as well, where he did a fantastic job with Wagner. Interesting how he's going to be leaving Wagner at Norwich to then come to Leeds United. But from what I was told, one of his stipulations is that he wants Daniel Farke to come with him, which is interesting and might put the cat amongst the pigeons when it comes to the Brendan Rodgers stuff, and Leeds persuading him to try and come, because I think you have to have the DOF who's aligned with the manager as well. So I firmly believe Leeds are still sounding out Brendan Rodgers, I think. But Daniel Farke wouldn't be a bad choice short term, in my opinion. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Looks like Mark Roca is going to be heading to Real Betis today. Apparently Sevilla were interested as well, and Betis won the signature. Leeds won the signature from Real Betis for Mark Roca's signature last year, 12 months ago. And apparently this is where Betis are going to be paying 100% of his wages. They're not going to be paying a loan fee up front, but they're paying 100% of his wages, which is great. That's fantastic. But there's no obligation to sign him. There's an option to sign him, but I think he'll do well in La Liga. So I think there might even be more clubs in for his signature after next season. But yeah, it'd have been great whilst his stock was high to be able to get, the financial rewards for him right now. So yeah, obviously it's going to be a churn in that midfield. Roca, Adams, Forshaw, McKennie, all now absent, it looks like, from that midfield, aside from Adams. But Adams has essentially yesterday, according to multiple sources, said that he still wants to be playing in the Premier League and stuff like that. Obviously, there's no quotes out there, but apparently sources close to Tyler Adams believe that he wants to be playing Premier League football. I still think he'd be getting into the States side. I don't think that's going to be affected by him playing in the Championship like it would for the English national side. But I think he wants to be applying his trade higher when he's at such a young age. You don't want your stock to go down. And if he's playing in the Premier League, that's going to be growing and growing and growing. So, yeah, I think there are, and I've come on here and said it before, I think there are players out there that can replace Tyler Adams in the Championship, to be honest with you. I do firmly believe that. And the reason I believe that is because, it's because I think that it just works. I think that it just works. And yeah, sorry guys, I've just checked. I've just been sent a message that apparently the Mirror are now reporting that Weber would be bringing in Daniel Farke. But just back to my previous point, I was mentioning Tyler Adams and saying it just works in terms of getting a replacement. And I think Championship-wise, you can get a destroyer, a ball winner, and someone who covers a lot of ground. I think if that is the way Leeds are playing and Leeds are deploying a defensive midfielder, I think the hardest attribute to recruit for when it comes to a defensive midfielder is a defensive midfielder who can play on the ball, who can distribute, who is excellent left and right footed. I still think Tyler Adams has got that side of his game to develop, but a ball winner, a bit of a destroyer in there. I think at Championship level, that's you're able to recruit players like that. You're able to recruit players like that who also can chip in with goals. I think Leeds, with the weight that we have around us at the minute, I think we'll be able to do that. But guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. We're going to have a little bit of a news sort of roundup today as well. We're going to have the debrief later on. Make sure you stay tuned for that. What content is flying out of One Leeds at the minute. Make sure you check on the Patreon account as well, where we always have bonus content over there. As of even yesterday, we've got stuff over there. I'm going to turn this fan on. because it is boiling. And guys, have a good one. See you in a bit.